If you have a dream to study in Canada, then you are just a few steps away from achieving this dream. This is because I have a guest with me who is the CEO and founder of a company in Canada that will help you achieve this dream all for free. And today I'm talking about Halp. We are so lucky today to have the CEO of Halp with us. Nice to see you, Matthew. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Really excited about this. Thank you for the lovely introduction and excited to get going.
Yeah, it's nice to see the great work you guys are doing in Harp. Just tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us why you created Harp.
Yeah, I'm Matt, founder, CEO of Halp. Our entire mission is to make studying abroad easier for students. We care a lot about making international education accessible for people. And so we've built a platform that allows students to get one-on-one support throughout the entire process from experts while also saving them money. A lot of the people on our team were international students. We've dealt and seen the difficulties of navigating this process firsthand. And so we started the business so that we could try to solve some of those problems.
Thank you very much. I've gotten a lot of testimonies as well from people who have utilized Harp, and it's so interesting that this is all for free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that is possible, but you guys are doing a very great job. So we're going to go straight into a series of questions. This is going to help the audience understand what they are going to benefit from Harp, what Harp is all about. And the very next question I have right here is, why is Harp better than using agent? Because most there are agents that help people apply for admissions. So why is it better to use Harp instead of using other agents or applying by myself? So what are the benefits I'm going to get if I use Harp to study in Canada?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about, the different options, right? Typically, if you apply through an agent, generally you may pay an upfront fee. You have less school options to choose from. You don't get support often on the immigration piece, or there's a fee for that. And you have to travel to the location or use Zoom, which can be a frustrating experience. And generally, success rates on the first try can be a little bit lower. The other nuance is that the majority of agents are based in your home country. They've never been to Canada. They've never been to the campuses. They don't understand the programs and the schools and the provinces and the communities that you'll be living in the same way that we do being based in Canada. So that's kind of the agent experience generally. There are some great
Yeah.
ones. Second, if you apply on your own, generally you're sifting through a ton of information online. It can be difficult to understand. There can be conflicting information. You're managing different application timelines that have different, requirements in the bundles. You don't necessarily have an expert to review these applications or the immigration package. So
Yeah.
you don't know if you're putting your best foot forward. And this can make the process time consuming and stressful. And so with Halp, compared to those other two options, with our platform, you get a one-on-one admissions coach and an immigration lawyer to support you one-on-one through the entire process. So these are people that will help you understand from our hundreds of school partners and thousands of programs what is the best fit for you based on your career goals and what you're looking to do. They will then
Yeah.
work with you to build the application bundle. We submit it to the school on your behalf. We drive market leading processing times and success rates for the applications from the schools to get accepted. And then we do the exact same thing with a free immigration lawyer, which saves you about $2,000 Canadian, where the lawyer will work with you to understand how to submit a great study permit application. So overall, it's a better experience. It's online, better success rates. It saves you money and it
Yeah.
saves you time.
Thank you very much. The fact that Harp is free on its own,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of benefits already. So thank you
Mm-hmm.
very much. There has been a lot of news concerning studying in Canada in
Mm-hmm.
recent times. There are news about different immigration policies. So, do you recommend studying in Canada today? Is it a worthwhile investment?
Mm-hmm. So yes would be the short answer, but it can be a challenging landscape to understand given the dynamic nature of Immigration Canada and their evolving rules and regulations, right? However, for the right program and with the right advice and support system, the education is still world leading, the job opportunities are there, and the culture and the experience across the different provinces within Canada is truly amazing to experience. If you're looking at
Yeah.
it from that perspective, from an investment, I think the return is still there if you're pursuing the right path. right? It can be difficult if you're applying on your own, or if you're working with an agent that's never been to Canada or doesn't have a
Yeah.
relationship with the government, because you're going to hear a lot of chatter about student caps, postgrad work permit lengths, provincial attestation letters, master's versus undergrad versus postgrad versus diploma versus certificate. What does it all mean?
Exactly.
Realistically, there will still be hundreds of thousands of students coming to Canada to great institutions every year into the future, right? Probably 300 to 400,000. And
Mhm.
I think it is still a great investment to try to be one of those students if it's the right fit for you and for your goals. And we exist to help explain all this difficult information to people.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, relative to US, UK, Australia, which are other popular options, I know there are many of them, the return, if you're in the right path, is still as good as any of those countries or better. And so it is an interesting time because of a lot of the news that is coming out and the changing regulations. But Canada
Exactly.
is an extremely welcoming place, and it is still worthwhile pursuing. And we're happy to kind of like talk you through that and help you understand what's going on. And we will never pressure a student to go forward or pursue a path that's not in their best interest. And
Exactly.
at least we can help you understand what's going on. There are a lot of other reasons to come than just a return and an investment. No job is
Yeah.
guaranteed. Immigration status and PR and these things are never guaranteed. But if you are looking for a great education, for job opportunities, and to have that experience, like, we can talk through all of that. But like, I don't want to make it seem like there are like, we never speak in guarantees, and I don't think anybody should. And it
Yeah.
should be about the education and the course and the experience, and then also the opportunity to pursue jobs and maybe potential immigration pathways, right? But if you're
Yeah.
looking for like a guaranteed PR or something like that, that is just like not the reality or the case. There are still situations where that can happen. But if you are education focused and really excited about the ability to stay and work afterwards, we can help you find opportunities that you'll have the best chance
Chance.
at the opportunity you're looking for.
Thank you, Matt, for
Mhm.
clarifying. We go straight into the next question. Talking about courses, a lot of students, international students, they want to apply to several courses to increase their chances of getting admitted.
Mhm.
So, we have help to apply to multiple courses or multiple universities.
Yeah. So essentially, like the big thing is we have hundreds of school partners. They offer thousands of programs across master's, postgrad, undergrad, and then like diploma certificate for universities, for colleges, both private and public, right? A whole slew of different types of inventory of course options.
Okay.
What we do at the beginning is you'll work with your help coach, the admissions coach, to understand based on your goals for career, for education pathway, for what you want your future to look like, and other nuances like cost of living, different distance from airport. You might already have friends and family in Canada, and you want to understand what are your options that meet all of these things. That's the work that we do up front, is basically narrow down hundreds of schools and thousands of programs to two or three that make the
Yeah.
most sense for you based on your grades, based on your financial situation, based on what we think you'll qualify for at the study permit level. And we'll generally narrow it down to two or three institutions, and then maybe one or two courses at each of those institutions. Some students will have a very clear favorite, and then we add a couple like just in case. But we do not restrict, the number of institutions and programs you apply to. However, they might have fees associated with them, or like it can be time consuming to build all these applications. So generally, our students will apply to two or three institutions and maybe like three or four total programs.
Yeah.
But we're not going to limit you.
Yeah, I think that is fair enough. Applying to two or three, yeah, I think that is fair enough.
Mhm.
So, a related question to that, do I have to apply to specific courses if I'm applying through Halp? For example, if I'm interested in biotechnology, but Halp does not apply to courses like biotechnology, is that a possibility, or I can apply through Halp to
So
any course?
yeah, it's a great question. We have in most provinces, at most institutions across like university, college, private, public, whatever it is, we should have most courses covered. However, if it's an extremely nuanced or rare program and we might not have like, a relationship with that school, we will still encourage the student to apply directly on their own and like go through that
Yeah,
process. We just might not be able to support you with that because we don't know about it that well. But generally speaking, healthcare, science, business, STEM at master's and undergrad, diploma, certificate, whatever it is that you're looking to do, like we should have access to all of those. What we will do is make sure that your education pathway makes sense and that your grades make sense for the programs you're applying for, and that like the affordability of it is there, because
Yeah.
we know what the Immigration Canada is looking for. Because the majority of the students that enroll with Halp, they know the study level and the general course subject that they're looking for, but they just don't know which institution and what specific course within that umbrella makes sense for them. So that's
Yeah.
why we do a lot of work to explain what all the options are and kind of narrow it down.
Okay.
We don't have full 100% coverage, but generally it should be fine.
Thank you very much. Just a quick question. With HAP, I can apply to both undergraduate and graduate courses, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So that will take us to the next question. What are the best programs to apply to right now, given the job market and visa approval rates in Canada?
Yeah, and honestly, by the time this video comes out, this could change, because they are going to be bringing out new information about the length of postgrad work permit based on if the program subject may or may not match a labor shortage or an in-demand job category in the province that your institution is in. TBD,
Yeah.
we're still waiting for more information on that. But there's two things to talk about here. One, not every student is always studying specifically for a job. Sometimes they are coming to get an incredible undergraduate or master's experience to work for a few years in that area, and then maybe like go back home and or they have a business back home, whatever. If you
Exactly.
are looking specifically at high visa approval rates as well as the job market, master's and undergrad programs and postgrad programs in like healthcare, personal support worker, nursing, masters of nursing. We've seen in Ontario and BC, which are pretty popular provinces for people to apply to, visa approval rates for those programs have been strong. But STEM, engineering, which is a part of that, as well as business, when it's like a more specific master's program, data science, data analytics, these types of things, at the master's level also have strong approval rates right now. Generally, it's not always about the course. It's also about the entire candidacy of the applicant. So,
Yeah.
you know, how old are you? What is the study gap? What's your financial readiness look like? What is the education pathway? Like if you have a master's program in your home country and you're looking to apply for like a 1-year diploma program, they're probably going to look at that at the government and say, maybe you're just trying to do immigration, right? And so there's a lot that goes into the visa approval outside
Exactly.
of just what the course is, but generally like business, STEM, healthcare are pretty good bets right now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I believe the audience are taking notes. Okay. So let's go into the next question. When applying to Canada through HAP, do I have to pay admission application fee? So this is one of the issue, the major challenge with some of my audience. They have this fear for application fee. So what is it with HAP? Do I have to pay application fee when applying through HAP?
Yeah, so I'll make a couple things clear. Halp doesn't charge you anything. It's the schools. And so some of them have an application fee. Sometimes we can get it waived. Sometimes we can't. I will say this. Generally, I wouldn't start the process if like application fees or study permit application fees are a huge concern, because we see a lot of students that are like, I just want to apply to a free school, get accepted, and then I'm going to figure everything out. You should apply when you are ready and you know that that school and program are exactly what you want, and that you're aware that studying abroad is expensive, but it's worthwhile. And the Canadian government is very strict about financial readiness, and so are we, right? And so what we don't want to do is submit a bunch of applications to our institution partners that have no application fee, but the students don't end up going on with the process because of finances, right?
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is we will try to reduce costs throughout the entire process. We provide the lawyer, we can get fees waived. Some of the school partners offer our members scholarships just because they're using Halp, that type of thing. It's not a guarantee. So I would wait and start the process when you are for sure committed, that you know you want to go to Canada, you're interested in a certain study level in a certain subject area. Then we can find options that might have fees or might not have fees. But if you're just kind of testing the waters and seeing if you can get in, I would wait and then do it once you're ready and you are aware of the true costs and can kind of like go through that process. Because whether or not you can get accepted to the school, which most people can, it's the government and the financial readiness piece is like a huge factor right now in the study permit.
Yeah. I think that is fair enough. And that also brings us to the next question. How do you know if someone is ready to apply through HAP? So what are the eligibility requirements to get help from Halp. Because
Yeah. And this is an important distinction, like ready, like a lot of the students that we interact with every day for sure are strong enough candidates to get accepted to the institutions.
yeah,
The hard part is getting the study permit, right? Because there is a ton of demand to study in Canada and they're very selective. And so we essentially, when we do our verification and our qualification process, it's very important because Halp is free and we provide a free lawyer, which means we can only work with students that are ready and have the best chance of getting the study permit. And so let's
exactly.
talk about what that looks like, right? Because a lot of people can get accepted to the program, but it's not a guarantee that the government of Canada will provide the permit, and we don't have any control over the government's decision. But what we
Yeah,
do is look at the trends. So generally, the people that are most likely to get accepted into the Help program and get a coach and the free lawyer, right around or under the age of 30, usually under a 5-year study gap. So it's been less than 5 years since you last graduated from either high school, undergrad, or a master's program in your home country or elsewhere. The
yeah,
education path makes sense. So you're going from high school to undergrad or undergrad to postgrad or undergrad to master's, postgrad to master's. Students that are looking to go and do like a short-term program that doesn't really, and that the subjects make sense. You're not going from like nursing to, it needs to show like a very clear
path.
path,
Yeah,
basically, on the education side. The ability to show at least 50,000 Canadian dollars in proof of funds for the visa application. So that doesn't mean you have to use that money to pay for the education. Oftentimes, you just need to be able to show the government that you have a bank account, either you or a sponsor, but sponsor applications generally have a lower approval rate. You should generally have a bank account in the family that can show the equivalent of 50,000 Canadian dollars in liquid assets. That's the biggest thing, because they want people that are coming to Canada that can like actually afford. It's not going to really set you back. Like you can afford
yeah,
to study. Strong ties to the home country and not looking to bring a spouse right away has been something that we're seeing approval rates be higher for. Now,
hmm,
so we look for this. Now, there is nuance case to case. So like generally these students get an approval more often than not. The approval rate's still like 75 to 80% when you meet all those criteria. It
yeah,
doesn't mean that if you're not that, you have no chance. These are
yeah.
just like the trends that we see because we submit thousands of applications, right? So
Okay.
generally, that's what we are looking for when we're interviewing our students.
Yeah. Okay. Just a quick follow-up question to that.
Mhm.
You talked about the 50,000 Canadian dollars. I
Yes.
think that might also be. What about what if the applicant who is requesting for help through HAP doesn't have up to 50, but meets other requirements, or maybe have some amount, but not up to 50?
Yeah. Basically, what the government wants to see, we're pretty strict about that. And the reason
Yeah.
is like, I don't want to make a student do a ton of work and get all excited, and then the government's just going to say no. And the big
True.
thing is like, there are enough people. If you're close and you really want to go for it, like we can try, but we're not going to like set students up to not be successful.
Hmm.
What the government posts on their website and what you can read about is the proof of funds is meant to show your first year full tuition plus living expenses in a bank account.
Yeah.
Generally, if you're applying for a master's, postgrad, or undergrad program, the tuition will be about $20,000 in the first year. We can find some courses that are 13,000, some that are a little more expensive, and then the living expenses and the flights and that type of thing are another like 22,000.
Yeah.
So to have a really good chance, you need to just be able to have that in the bank account. Now,
Yeah.
it's a very clear distinction. You don't need to use that money to pay. You just need to show that to the government so they know that if you get into a tight spot, if a loan doesn't come through, you're not going to be, in a very difficult position or have to go home or drop out.
Yeah.
Once you get the study permit, there are a lot of different financial institutions that can then provide loans. You also pay in installments, right? So you have to
Mhm.
make a tuition deposit to apply for the study permit. Usually that's $5,000 to $10,000 you've already spent Canadian.
Mhm.
So you don't even owe more tuition for like 4 or 5 months. And then generally they will do installment plans and you can get loans. You can work once you're in Canada. But in the study permit application to get the visa, you have to just have literally a paper of a screenshot of the bank account that has that. And
Yeah.
so you don't need to use that money, but you need to show
Mhm.
that you have it.
Yeah.
And honestly, like the most common reason for a visa denial that we will see is like a student might have $37,000 and they'll get denied and they'll say proof of funds inadequate, right?
Yeah.
it doesn't even mean that the student wouldn't be able to pay the installments. And I'm not agreeing with it. It's just
Mhm.
like, it's the reality of what the
The
Canadian
reality,
government is
yeah,
doing. And so like, we just see that every day. And so we're trying to tell the students like, this is
this
just,
is what we expect. Yeah,
yeah. And maybe it changes, maybe it doesn't, but it's like,
yeah,
we submit enough applications to sort of see the trend line. And
exactly.
yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that.
Mhm.
It's also important to know that information change every time.
Exactly.
So it's always important to look at current information and also
Yeah.
sign up on Halp. So talking about requirements as well, another major challenge of international students is the English test. So
Mhm.
what is it like for applying through Halp? Do I need to write IELTS or other form of English test exams?
Yeah, like this is purely dependent on the source country you're coming from, the program you're applying for. Generally, students from Nigeria and Ghana don't need to do it. Students from India do, like that type of thing. The help
Yeah.
coaches can advise you on your specific case. I will say there in the recent announcements, they've also said that you may or may not need to take an IELTS to apply for your postgrad work permit once you graduate in Canada. That's a new thing that we're kind of wrapping our heads around. But as
Mhm.
of right now, it's very dependent on the country you're applying from and the program you are applying for at that institution. So usually it's no, but for the students from the countries I mentioned, but we can explain that to you once you are talking to
Yeah,
your
sign
coach.
up. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, talking about signing up, I'm going to leave the link to Hub in the YouTube video description so you can check it out. It's also going to be in the comment section. So we have one final question before we call it a day, and that is talking about studying and working in Canada as a foreigner. So are there restrictions for foreigners from working while studying in Canada?
Yeah, while you're in like coursework right now, they've said 24 hours. I'm not really sure how this is enforced or governed, but that's kind of the rule that Immigration Canada has and Mark Miller have come forward with as of right now. It's basically like having a part-time job while you study. I think it's pretty clear the focus should be on education. The programs aren't
Exactly.
easy, and obviously you want to get good grades and try to get a great job. But you are able to kind of find part-time work to help sort of like bring down the cost while you're here.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Matthew. It's been an enlightening session with you. I believe the audience have gotten some answers, and those who are really interested and serious about studying in Canada, you have the information to work with. You can use the link in the YouTube video description to get a free HAP coach as well as a free immigration lawyer and get your study in Canada application smoothly. So, any final words from you, Matthew?
No, I would just say that the information I'm providing is up to date as of now and pretty general. It's not a guarantee in either direction.
Yeah,
Hopefully, we can keep talking as more information comes out. But this has been great, and hopefully, folks are able to sort of learn from the information. And we're here to help if you need it and you'd like to pursue studying abroad in Canada.
yeah. Thank you very much, and thank you for the great work you're doing with HAP. And I wish you
Thank you.
all the best.
You as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and bye. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.